Can I actually have all the lights off? I do not want to be seen. Anyway, hello. My presentation is on Louise Bourgeois. You may know her. She is a French-American artist born in 1911, regarded as one of the greatest contemporary artists of all time. And I am absolutely terrified of her. I watch archive footage and interviews of her, and her personality changes so rapidly. She was as gentle as a baby and then so angry. She would destroy her art. She would love her art. People would leave her Sunday salons in tears because she just did not care. If she didn't like her art, she would tell them. And I could not understand this mentality that she had. So I delved into her massive archive of work to try and find something that would allow me to understand her. But I could not. So I instead decided to select an anti-self-portrait of her, something I feel I see myself more in than I see myself in her. This is Lady in Waiting, 2003, tapestry, thread, steel, wood, and glass. Hold up. Almost all of the art I've seen in my life could be described as quiet or still, but I feel it so much in this work. It's so huge and impending, but quiet. It's truly the opposite of Louise Bourgeois, who was this tiny lady, but ferociously loud and angry. And when I continue to look through her work, her more famed work in the spiders and the woven work, all I could think about was this small figure. The body is inherently feminine, yet anonymous. She has no facial features, she has no arms, she cannot move, she cannot make a sound. Her anonymity scares me because she could be anyone, she could be everyone, or she could be no one. Her vulnerability in the nude figure makes me uncomfortable. And such a quiet and vulnerable figure, I couldn't understand where Louise Bourgeois would have thought of this representation when she is so brave herself. Then I uncovered the story of her childhood. She represents her mother using the symbol of the spider. She described her spider work as deliberate, clever, patient, soothing, reasonable, dainty, subtle, indispensable, neat, and as useful as a spider. When I hear that description, I do not just imagine one mother, but all mothers, daughters, sisters, wives, and how the experience of womanhood could be so perfectly summarized by an insect. But spiders are not just these things, they are villainized, and they are feared, and they are killed. And the anger of womanhood, I think, is represented in her family. The 5 spools across the top, yes, that is the highest quality image I could find of them. They're those things. Represented the 5 members of her family. She then went on to have a family of 5 herself. So I wonder if she was afraid of becoming her mother. When you consider her past, her father was horrible. He cheated on her regularly and made her life not very happy up until her death when Louise Bourgeois was just 21. Notice that the thread is coming from the lady's mouth. I think Louise Bourgeois' mother had to give a lot of herself to keep the family afloat, to keep Louise afloat, to give her the love that she needed, to the point where you can't really tell if this thread is coming out of her mouth or going in. When I think of tapestries, I think of the history of women. I think of ancient Greece and Penelope, who would weave every day while Odysseus was out on this epic story that we still tell this day. But I think of the women in that story being imprisoned by their own bodies. The cell this lady sits in is voyeuristic. On both sides, we are watching her and she is watching us. We cannot hear her, we cannot see her move. We cannot tell much by her expression or posture. I think I see somebody who is resigned. Louise Bourgeois' work is rife with anger, and I don't think it's absent from this work, but I think it is contained. The silence in this work, I think, represents the silence of women throughout history and still to this day. I think this work made me so uncomfortable when I first saw it because I saw my own anger reflected, and I did not like what I saw. Because anger is ugly and messy, and when throughout history women's only currency has been beauty and submission, it's hard to see yourself without this currency. Bourgeois once said, "It is difficult to be a woman and likable, because how can you be yourself and be likable?" When I think of my reaction to Bourgeois' anger, I realized that why could you possibly blame her for being angry when her mother and her mother and her mother didn't get the chance to? I don't know how she could express herself so openly, but I want to try and learn. I don't want to be this lady in a prison. I want to be gobby and angry and loud and yell at people if they say my art is bad, and be so sure of myself that I work for 7 decades and for a large amount of that time get nearly nothing from it. So yeah, I want to thank Louise Bourgeois for inspiring me a lot in art, but also inspiring me to be rightfully angry when a sex offender is more likely to be president than a woman. And a message for you guys, for Louise Bourgeois, for me, for everyone in your history, and for yourself: do not wait.